Alright. Welcome to another video. In this one, we are gonna have a look at how to counter normal attack damage. There's been a lot of you asking me, can you do tier lists about tower knowledge skills? No, I won't do that because it all depends. What I will do is try and make some guides on what kind of tower knowledge skills can you use to counter what kind of enemy. And for the first one in that series, we're going to be looking at normal attack damage. So this will be your Alexanders, your Hannibals, and basically it's going to be the hybrid team, right? How do you actually counter that strong normal attack based damage, hyper attack speed builds? For that, we're going to focus down on Tower of Knowledge skills. I'm probably going to mention a couple immortals in there as well. And I mean, you can always do physical defense artifacts. There's a lot of stuff beyond that, talents, all this other kind of stuff. But what we're kind of going to be focusing on here is Tower of Knowledge skills, because otherwise we're going to be here for a couple hours. So, basically, what we're gonna have a look at is one of these big boys. This is an example. In 10 seconds, an Alexander and a Hannibal basically murdered an enemy with a normal attack damage. I mean, 10 seconds, that's not even the grace period. It's pretty damn incredible. And because they can't do so much normal attack damage in so very little time, what I've done for this guide is kind of see, okay, how can we counter that? So basically we're going to be countering skills like Anger, Combo, Wind Rage, Cleave, Berserker, and specifically those skills on Alexander and Hannibal. Well, works on anything if you face an enemy running, I don't know, Saladin with these kind of skills on, trying to make an attack speed build out of that, or some other immortal that possibly could do that. This would count as well, but hybrid is just the prime example of sort of where you're gonna likely see these skills in action to great effect. But before we dive too far in, the weekly reminder, it is almost the usual weekly reminder because we do have a new campaign from Huawei. What is as it always is, you should be spending as wisely as you possibly can, as efficiently as you possibly can, and that means taking advantage of these campaigns. Huawei offers you big discounts up to 20% back on purchases, and in the end it really does save quite a lot. In addition to that, they have some 50% off for old friends kind of thing. So if you're an old player who's not playing anymore, but for some reason is still watching videos about the game, you can get a bit extra about that. But I did say a new campaign, and you're probably saying this looks a lot like what we've seen before. And yes, it's a new campaign, it's a new skin, but it's basically the same. You spend $1, €1, you get flowers, you redeem flowers for coupons, and you save a lot of money when you buy stuff for Infinity Kingdom. If you are one of the people looking to upgrade, perhaps you want some Toxin Barrier, you're looking for a guard or a Vitality Touch or something interesting, something you can counter hybrid with, hint hint, well, you're going to want to spend as efficiently as you possibly can, and that means Huawei. You should also join up on their Discord. Their Discord service has a lot of guides, competitions, campaigns in there, other game discounts, etc. There's also mods in there to help you out if you have any problems, installation guides, etc. It is all in there. So go ahead and download the AppGallery app, get Infinity Kingdom on that, and go and join their Discord. Let us dive into the actual skills we're gonna be countering here, because this is both countering immortals and skills. We're countering normal attack damage, so we're countering the immortals, Alexander and Hannibal and others like them. They are the best in that category, but certainly not the only ones. but we're also countering specific skills, because you can equip, Berserker, Anchor, Dual Master, Combo Cleave, Wind Rage, these kind of awesome, Onslaught, even the green one that has been used to pretty good effect. And you can equip these on other immortals than these two for very good results. And if you're up against that, this is what we're gonna have a look at. How do we then counter that? What I'll be doing, as I said in the beginning, I'm not a fan of tier lists, so I'm not going to be doing sort of these are a total ABC ranking or SABD whatever ranking, because it does still depend on what precisely are you up against. But I will bend as far as make a category for the very best defensive skills out there. So when you are trying to defend against normal attack damage, there are a few Tower of Knowledge skills that really stands out as just simply superior to all the other defensive stuff. These are Oaken Guard, Physical Shield, Void Realm, Toxin Barrier, Paralysis, Misleading, and After Image. Those are in a combination. And I'm gonna dwell here for a bit and sort of expand on that. Oaken Guard for one. Oaken Guard is one of the absolute best skills in the game. It's been quite a while since a true magic damage meta has been around, with Loki out and more Himiko marches. Magical damage is making somewhat of a comeback, but it is still mainly physical damage that dominates Infinity Kingdom in PvP. And for that, Oaken Guard is just a flat reduction for all incoming damage in the beginning of the fight. It's a grace effect, so it's not permanent, but it is a massive reduction. So you will need this basically in any main march at higher levels. Physical shield, and of course that makes Oaken Guard one of the best things to defend against normal damage as well, because normal damage, as we all know, is physical damage. So having this really helps you a lot in defending against that hefty normal attack. Physical shield is it's a specialized defense for one immortal. So what it does, it reduces the incoming physical damage for the single immortal that has it equipped. Where Oaken Guard protects your entire team, this gives a 30% damage taken reduction to a single immortal, but that is incredibly powerful because it persists. And what that means is that for an entire fight, you're taking 30% less damage from every single Alexander hit, for instance. This is very, very good and will offer you massive protection while not doing anything bad. I mean, there's no downside to this. It is just protection. In contrast to this, sort of like Void Realm. Void Realm is perhaps, technically probably the best defensive skill, because you're not gonna be taking any damage. It has a high proc chance and it just reduces all damage by, I think it's 90%. It's pretty crazy. But you are not really dealing damage while it's on either. So that's kind of a big drawback. Whereas Physical Shield, you can equip that on something like an Alexander and have him face the enemy's Alexander. And having that layer of protection on yours means that your hits are a lot bigger than the enemy's hits on you are, and that gets you ahead in troop count, makes you win the 1-on-1, and that's one nice way to actually counter hybrid. It's just equipping Physical Shield on your own Alexander and having him fight back. Void Realm doesn't work like that, but Void Realm is awesome on someone who's not supposed to deal damage. Let's say I have a Charles in my setup. I want to give him Void Realm and I want to put him in front of one of these big normal attack immortals, because they're going to be swinging at him, dealing no damage to him for quite a while. It's very powerful. Another way, kind of like, well, not like physical shield, but like the result of having physical shield on Alex, so on wanting him, you can do toxin barrier. Toxin barrier means that you take when you take hits, you stack up, and you on stacks you then release damage back at your enemy in AoE. So what that means is having, and especially against these hyper attack speed normal damage builds, you're going to be taking a lot of hits, because the normal attack damage, when it works well, it's not doing a lot of slow hits that deal massive damage. It's a lot of small hits, but pretty big hits, but they come extremely quickly. The attack speed of a proper hybrid is incredibly high, and that means the toxin barrier is just going to go off again and again and again really, really quickly. So if you can defend against, not just die before you get a chance to do damage, for instance, running physical shield with toxin barrier, something like that, Oaken Guard in the backline, you're going to be able to deal sort of thorns damage. If anyone's familiar with MMOs like that, you're going to be able to reflect damage back at your attacker, because toxin barrier just procs so quickly. That can be a very, very effective strategy. Paralysis for auras. Paralysis is probably one of the most underrated auras out there. It kind of had a time where people used to run it back when lightning was more of a thing than it is now. It is quite a good Tower of Knowledge skill, but really only against these hyper attack speed builds. And it's not enough on its own, but if you have an empty aura slot, paralysis can help you quite a lot against enemy hybrid teams, because it does work through control immunity. I know some people say it didn't. I'm not sure if it at some point was broken and didn't affect, for instance, an Alexander with his unique on, but for now it does. The last one I have in my S tier category is misleading and afterimage. This is only if you're able to sort of stack enough dodge chance that your enemy's accuracy gets on the low end. You can reduce the enemy's accuracy with misleading, increase your dodge. Afterimage, you can combine that with Manko, with his unique artifact, stuff like that, and talent points. Really stack up your chance to evade an incoming attack or get dodged. And if you are able to do that, it is an extremely effective defense against physical damage, and especially against normal attack physical damage. But again, it does require sort of a broader team behind it. You do need quite a lot of dodge accuracy reduction to make this really efficient. And of course, it depends on your enemy's accuracy boosts as well. But as I said, it is also not about, I know that these are S tier and they will always do you good in defending against normal attack damage, but you should also kind of think about what have you got, what have the enemy got. If it is a hybrid, what are you running? Are you running your own hybrid? Because then doing what I said before, taking your Alex against an Alex, swapping into something like a dual master, physical shield, berserker, whatever you have, combo, Alexander is gonna be killing the enemy's Alexander quite quickly, even at the absolute highest levels, just because that flat 30% reduction to incoming damage gets you ahead in the game quite quickly. And as soon as you get ahead in troop count, it really starts to snowball from there. So that's a great way to counter a hybrid in a hybrid battle, which I do expect quite a lot of you to sort of encounter. Beyond that, One other immortal that I really need to mention here is Hippolyta. She's quite underrated, I feel, but her skill is extremely powerful against normal attack damage because it is, you can stack 10% attack speed reduction 5 times. You can stack that on the enemy with high enough energy regen, get some rage back there, stuff like that. You can keep these up, and that is quite massive. You can also equip, if you are against a hybrid again, she will die quite quickly, so you're gonna be needing some defensive stuff. So you can play around with, physical shield, maybe even a toxin barrier and paralysis. Maybe do paralysis on a backline instead, and go for an AR there so you get more energy regen. Play around with it. This is not, set in stone, but it is just be aware that Hippolyta's ultimate ability can be quite powerful against normal attack damage builds. Likewise, I mean, some people swear Sid is the savior against hybrids. I don't see it. He's decent against hybrids, but not that great. With unique artifact, he does fine against hybrids, but I'd still rather have a hybrid to fight a hybrid. Especially because Sid is just terrible against anything else. But he gets a mention here just because so many people seem to be a fan of him. Go watch some of those other videos if you want to dive into that. Another Tower of Knowledge combo, I talked about Void Realm before. If you are running Void Realm, you can also run it with Guard. That is a quite incredible combination. If you get Guard off on the other frontline immortal, you will basically have 2 frontliners taking no damage for the first 18 seconds. If you're, one of them for 18 seconds, the other one after 8 seconds, so in an 8-second window in total. But you're gonna, end of the day, be reducing the damage both of your frontliners take quite significantly. It does require you to get off guard on the frontline immortal, your frontliner. It used to be that you could use assist on your backline. That gets 100% chance to proc assist on the other backline. That would mean assist is active on both. And since guard cannot be stacked with assist, you would always get the guard proc off on your other frontline immortal. I'm not sure if that still works. Unfortunately, I don't have guard myself. But I have gotten some people to test this out for me, and they report that it doesn't work anymore. Whether that's true, I'm still investigating, but you should kind of, if you have this, try it out. Because if it still works as it did when this thing came out, it is incredibly powerful and really, really kills a hybrid. Or, well, counters normal attack damage. Something else, consider your entire troop. This is more of a how do you think about it, because when you are playing against normal attack damage, you are oftentimes kind of getting stuck into, okay, I need to equip a lot of defensive stuff on my frontliners, they need to survive. But a lot of these stuff can't be equipped on your backliners, as sometimes running, defensive blessings, some healing stuff, making sure you're crit immune, perhaps running, the paralysis aura and misleading after image. Some of these stuff, Oak and Guard, you can equip them on your backline supporters and have them support your frontliners. Now, you probably know that, but I feel like we've been talking about defending frontliners all video, so I just wanna kind of throw that in there. And that leads me to another thing, the more general defensive skills, because we have a lot more defensive capabilities at our disposal than what we went through before. What we had was what I value to be the best skills. These are in their own right a lot better than many of the ones I mentioned for other stuff, like Energy Shield, for instance, is one of the is an incredibly powerful Tower of Knowledge skill, but it's not as powerful against these hyper attack speed normal attack builds. And that's how this should be understood. So don't take this as, okay, these skills are just inferior to the ones we mentioned before. No, only in very specific contexts. But they all deserve a mention, because if you are lacking some defensive capabilities, these can definitely offer it. Energy Shield, a lot of shielding, it's great. Blessing a Defense is one of my personal favorites. It's a very underrated purple. I think it's only because it's purple. If this thing's color was, epic, this orange gold thingy, you would probably see it in every main match, because it is very, very powerful. Just a flat defense against incoming damage. Very good. And all damage should be said. So this thing works against Loki. Weakness Protection guards against physical and magical damage, ups your defense stats. It's great if you have an empty spot on a support. Vitality Touch, great healing. Healing, shielding effects, these can all provide very good sustain. Against hybrids, things moves, against hyper attack speed normal damage builds, this kind of takes too long. Most healing and shielding is kind of for the prolonged fight. You need to stay alive and sort of retain a high troop count to make this worth it. And you can't out heal a proper hybrid. You just can't. But it gets a mention anyway, because I mean, it's defense if you got a spot and you need it. Guard and lifelink, kind of the same as we've said before, just a different kind of thought, because you can also do guard lifelink and instead of guard void, something like that. This is more of an offensive thing, while it does still transfer damage through guard. Lifelink gets you the ability to at least try and toss some of it back there. You can also just run lifelink on a frontliner in front of an enemy Alex if you get very lucky and get a proc right off the beginning. It can give you some nice defense and offense, but if you don't get that very first proc, it's not a very good skill. So kind of RNG on that one. Malice, if you are taking crits, you need Malice. It's that simple. You can't afford to take incoming critical hits. But if you have a strong dragon talent, you don't need it. So if you need it, get it. If you got it, then don't. Fighting Master enhances your resistance to physical and magical damage, because this just is a flat damage taken reduction. That's really nice. What is even nicer is that it makes you immune to control effects, which is also cavalry stuns. So put this on someone facing an enemy Alexander, and you'll be taking less damage and never being stunned by cavalry technology. That's nice. Shelter provides healing when you take damage. This makes it pretty decent against normal attack damage, because again, it's hyper attack speed, so it's a lot of damage instances. But on the other hand side, it is healing effects, and you're not gonna outpace the damage of a hybrid with healing. But it deserves a mention. Like all of these skills, they are good skills and they're great, but not S tier. Something else you need to know about is control. Because let's say you're facing someone running an attack speed build with an Hannibal up front, but they are not running Fighting Master on their Hannibal. Maybe they don't have the unique artifact on Alexander. Well, then you can control them. Fighting Will, Root, it's the same effect. Fighting Will procs in AoE, Root procs on one target. You've got to be a bit lucky on Root, but basically rooting effects is specifically made to counter normal attacks. The only thing Root does is prevent the enemy mortal from normal attacking, so it's valued against normal attack damage and people running Adrenaline Rush, relying on a lot of normal attacks to proc that. The other thing you need to know about is Weakening Curse. brand new Tower of Knowledge skill, or well, at least it's just came out. It's just made available. You know, you can now finally get it. It's completely broken right now, as it should work. It is decent against physical attack, but shouldn't really be working against an Alex. Should work okay against Hannibal. For now, it shouldn't work against Hannibal either with unique effects. Both Alexander and Hannibal shouldn't be affected by it, but they are. And what that means is that they got no way to remove it, and it's a permanent disarm, a huge damage reduction. It's completely broken and is not working as intended. So what that means is if you get Weakening Curse now, you're gonna be having one up on every single hybrid out there, but it's probably gonna be fixed. Once it gets fixed, it is still a very powerful skill and one you can use very well in other build setups, you know, energy control setups, for instance, which there are many of, but more of that in some other video because this is already being very long. But that was also the last things I had for you. This is sort of the combined table of what I call the S tier physical defense skills, defending you against normal attack damage. Other protection skill, defensive capabilities, healing, shielding, etc., mitigation. Control effects. These are the things that I would recommend you to have a look at if you are having problems dealing with normal attack damage. That is all for this video. I hope that you enjoyed this kind of counter format. If you do, please let me know, because I have a couple more that I think I want to do. And if you want to see them, then I'll do them. I am Myra, I'm from server 105. You can find me there, find me on Discord, find me on the IK Wiki website, find me on YouTube, and wherever else you are, find me in game. Let me know what you think, and thank you for watching, and see you on the next one. As always, please do subscribe to the channel. I consistently release new content here on the IK channel and on the official IK Wiki website. Links are in the description. On these channels you can find guides from everything in IK, from events to talents, passives, finished builds, and game mechanics. With that, I'm gonna leave you, and as always, thank you for watching, and see you for the next one.